How's it going? It's bigSHow, theGod. Thoughts of a God. So, topic this morning is constant review. Haven't done one for a few days. Kind of outlined how my days go, and they've pretty much been the same. And what I thought I'd do this morning would outline how I analyze, review, which is different to reflect. So I did a post with reflecting, which works in with it, but constant review is kind of a layer back as well. Not bigger picture kind of looks, but reviewing the actual pillars themselves. So the pillars that I have, I put them in a monthly calendar. I may show you my calendar set up one day. But the Google Calendar is set up with a journal which has my pillars broken down and how I rate them, and then how I rate them now. So as an example, I have my bigSHow and my career and how I rated it last month. And I have a number. So for example, I gave myself an 8 out of 10 or 8. I go into 0.2, so 8.2, 8.2 out of 10. And then obviously a year ago, I rated myself a 6, for example. And I've been every month progressively kind of just giving it a little bit of a background thought to it as a pillar. So like fitness and mental well-being, health, I keep reanalyzing it. So sometimes it may stay the same because of the review process of what I've gone through. And I relate this mostly as my own opinion and looking for some evidence to support it, to support my opinion on my number that I've given. I may add that as a note in there so that I can see how that's progressing with as least bias as I can put in there of my bias, right? The bias I have of what I rate myself. And so the career, I have finances, fitness, I've got as a pillar, learning, and then the nutrition. The nutrition one is more about, how my overall food habits been like, that sort of thing. It's another layer to monitoring myself. I have relationships in there as well as a pillar that I think about. And so I have that monthly. And the piece in that is understanding when I do that review, I have to have some evidence for this. And the evidence can't be just my thinking in the last couple of hours or how I'm feeling today, right? Or yesterday I ate clean, in the word, cleaner than most. Rate myself off that. That ain't good enough, right? So it forces me in its own way to record every day. And so the way I record my days feeds in to being able to give a more accurate assessment of the actual whole month and actual whole progress, rather than just this moment in time right now, right? Because that, in my opinion, leads to some more bias, because it's still only what I'm thinking today. If I'm feeling really down, if I'm not feeling, or I've made some average choices the day before, that's what I'll rate myself on, right? And really the whole month, that may have just been that one time. And I've normally got some reasons for that, good or bad. So yeah, so that's something that I have found really good for myself in the way I function is try to be hard on myself with it, hard and fair, and then be as realistic as I can and relate that to the data that I've input. So yes, I'm in that process right now, and that's been so good for me over the terms in regarding to just sort of motivating me to keep doing the daily routine that I've had. So I can even have a quick look at the week. So I go week view on the calendar, and I can turn on my pillars. And I have a really clean, fast picture on the week and what I've actually kind of done or not done. And I can see really quickly, like we've been in shutdown, right? And I've walked. I can say I've walked 8, 10, 30 kilometers. It's not bad. I've ran 16, 20 kilometers. It's okay. Done some push-ups and press-ups and stuff, but not as much as I normally would do with the gym. So that's a bit of a weakness there. But the reality too is I had an injured side. Now that my side, so what happens is my side is pretty good now. I'm not even thinking about it. So that becomes a distant thought. So I could look at that and say, shit, I haven't done much. I haven't been lifting. Why? I don't know. I can't remember. I look at that and go, well, yeah, your side was hurt with 3 of those days. Okay. Cut yourself a bit of slack or stay being hard on yourself. Your choice, but it was written down as a real thing, So capturing the data seems to have worked the most for me. Because I seem to be pretty good at pulling in events when I want to. And sometimes they align with the way I'm feeling right now. So I can go real negative, or I can go average. I seldom go real positive. I seldom do that. That's what trend I notice with myself. I will, I feel good. I feel great. Don't get me wrong. I will say how great I feel, but I still instinctively think about more. and my self-awareness has worked on that, right? So here I am. I know that. I know I think that. I know I have a bias towards that. I know I reflect it onto other people, knowingly or unknowingly. I try not to these days, but I still can't avoid it. It's not the word I can't avoid it. It's more I understand it now more with self-awareness. And so in a weird way, the data keeps supporting positivity, regardless of what I stack on top of it with my emotions, in my opinion. So yeah, so that's those, and that's evolved. You know, I had these sort of you know, they call them blocked out times for it on a monthly basis. And to be honest, sometimes when I got up to the month, if I had limited data because I hadn't recorded certain stuff or had not kept with it towards a layer that I thought I wanted to do, the urge to avoid it was there. You know, I won't lie. It became like, fuck, this huge thing to do because I haven't, it's just going to be miserable, right? But I persevered through it, did it anyway. Then came up when I went in there and submitted to it. Submitted a good word. Well, did something about it. Started doing the consistent things, but as in recording, and made it easier for myself too. It started to snowball the other way. And here I am, I'm willing to say online and look at it and know it's coming up. It's scheduled for the weekend to do the review, block of time there, and here I am able to talk about it 2 or 3 years ago. I ain't doing that because it sucks, right? It's a little bit like not exercising for 3 months and then having a fitness test tomorrow. You know, not really wanting to do that, right? Confidence and all that sort of stuff doesn't go as well. So I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm comfortable talking about this type of thing because I've had a reasonable level of data and entry and honesty and integrity in there to be able to say it like this versus sounding like a hypocrite, you know, but like not drinking. Oh, I don't drink. I had a beer yesterday though, you know. I can't help but feel that sounds hypocritical straight away, so I don't want to talk about not drinking. I had a beer yesterday or 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, right? But there seems to be a trap we can pull down. So yeah, so my day today, let's have a quick overview. It's going to be very similar. Got some good projects on today. Got the journaling and yeah. So I recommend having a look at that type of thing. When I have shared it, so I share a lot of this type of information with various people I know, far and wide from every area that I talk to. I just share my story of what I'm doing. And younger and older and different people. And it does seem to be quite a daunting thing for people. And I do understand myself too that having some clown tell me certain things about what they do, you still can't be bothered with that, you know. You want it, right? You got a young guy who's starting out, and he says he's broke every day and he earns a certain amount and he doesn't know why. So I offered to make him a budget sheet, send him a link and see where he ends up, you know. And I can imagine for him it's feeling sickening, really, you know. It sucks. But I don't know any other way to do it. You know, it works. A budget sheet works. The technology's there. The information's there. Recording it's there. I try to dumb it down as much as I can. But, you know, I employ a lot of that, just patience. I used to get not caught up, but it would affect me them not doing what I had suggested, at least to a level that I thought was adequate enough, progressing. But now I don't look at it that way anymore. I just think everyone's on their own path, and if I'm able to share one piece, the odd bit here and there, my messaging is generally pretty similar. Sometimes it just takes a while to get used to my way of speaking and how I come and what the points I'm making, because some of the points I'm making are quite layered. And if you don't have any history to measure or to compare against, a lot of what I'm saying is kind of like irrelevant. Be like talking to, you've been married 5 times and you're talking about old marriages and you've never been married. I'd assume you'd be thinking, what the hell are you on about? I'm not even not being married, I haven't been in a relationship with another person or partner, or however way you want to spin it. You're talking about the what not to do's and what to do's, and because you've had this range, sharing that with me, who've had none, and all I wanted to do is, well, which one? Because in that speech, you've got about 4 or 5 variances that depend on the other person, of what they did or didn't do, right? So it's something I understand. And I generally just seem to adapt to different levels these days. The big piece of it is to not take it on board for myself and then project it back as failing. They've failed. It's disappointing. Not doing that anymore. I've already told them 3 times. They just don't. That sort of overview or projection onto the person. Now, why do I have that? Why do I have that? Used to have that before when guys wouldn't come to training. Other guys in the team would be upset and stuff, and they didn't understand why I wasn't. And I always have the attitude of, well, I'm just dealing with the guys that are here. I don't spend energy on the guys right now that are not here. Right now, I'm doing the guys that are here. The guys that are not here, I will do not in this block of time, right? Yet, for some reason, this block of time we have now to do these tasks is mentally changed to the people that aren't here, which I have no control over. And that takes a lot to get used to, because in a team environment or a group environment, you are constantly bringing up stuff that others are doing or not doing. So don't get me wrong, I'm not void of it. I'm just trying to frame it in a way that I can only do what I'm doing. If this person is in the program, that's cool. If this person is not, for whatever reason, and we're confused, then that's over here, and let's deal with here. I mean, when you get talk team sports, it's a bit more difficult because that person's required for a bit that I can't do, right? So the dynamics change a bit more in a team sport. The example I'm talking of is a group training session, but on an individual sport. So I get you'd want that momentum, but I don't get the does it really matter right now? No, but is that something we want to talk about? Yes. So that's my point on that. And that's a growing thing too from a group. And that's what I try and put my energy towards as best as I can. And once that block of time's taken out, then I might have a strategy to talk about the rest of the guys who aren't there. And I'd rather talk to them and ask them why or how I is, rather than talking to this person about that person. I don't see the point in that. I do have a preference to talk to the person that I'm talking about. But I'm doing plenty of talking about that person's perspective of that person. But generally from there, it's I usually spin it onto themselves. Because even in that same exercise, and I do it a lot, is I can go, hey, this person's, let's say, negative, positive, not doing what he said he was going to do, or did what he said he was going to do, but didn't do, and all that sort of stuff. Said he was going to do this, but didn't. All right. And I go, am I doing some of that somewhere in my life? Am I doing that somewhere in my life? And practice that. And the more I reduce that, the more I'm comfortable talking about this with a bit more authority. Reduces my hypocriteness a bit more. And generally, if I go deep enough, there are cases where I said I was going to do something, but I didn't. And those are more often now for me. My analysis is me not doing something that I said that I told myself I was going to do. Right? And I might tell myself 10 things. I might even write them down. I might write down 10 of them. There might only be 9 of them that I did now, or within the timeline that I might have put in there. If I put more detail, right? But there's definitely some ones in there that I didn't do. So what's the difference? And so I find that helps. That helps me when I share that with others, that I do it as well. Maybe not. It's very seldom that I'm going to say I'm going to meet you at this place, or say I'm going to follow up with something that I don't. Very seldom. Because that's what I work at. So it's generally only when I talk to myself and I'm creating and I'm adding and I'm wanting more and wanting to add stuff that I have things that I haven't done. And I said I was going to do it to myself, and I haven't done it. So yeah. So I'll go about my day. I've got some good stuff lined up, and I will talk to you later.